Welcome to this new video. We are going to see how the dependencies work. The idea behind the dependencies is that you can set interactions as dependencies of other interactions, meaning an interaction will be valid after other interactions happened. Thanks to that, you'll be able to create chain reactions. In our example, we are going to hide a text panel that is in the middle of the screen once we placed all the different organs on the skeleton. In order to do that, we'll configure the interaction with dependencies. Each time we place an organ on the skeleton, we validate a dependency from the list of dependency we created. Once all of them are validated, the interaction will get triggered. But it will be easier to understand once I'm going to show you actually right now. So let's check our hierarchy and select the text interactive object. We click on it and we are going to see the section called interaction. If it's not open, you can just open with a little arrow. So now we are going to select the middle one called instruction hide. And that's where I'm going to add dependencies. So if we check the right panel, the inspector panel of that instruction hide interaction, we scroll a bit and you can see that there's already an action, which is the activate object action. But in that case, we use it to deactivate an object. So we already have the action that will hide that text panel setup. We want now to create the dependencies, meaning the other interaction that needs to be kind of validated in order for that one to happen. So first, we are going to check the dependencies. As you can read, create a chain reactions by setting other interaction. This one is dependent on. And now we have a kind of placeholder where we need to add our interaction. We need to drag and drop interactions from our hierarchy there. And once these interactions are validated, it will trigger our action. So quickly, we need to think about what we want to do. So if I zoom in a bit in the editor, you can see in the middle there is a skeleton and we have organs on the left and right. And so we can drag and drop these organs in our experience and we place them on the skeleton. And once all of them are placed, at that moment, we want the text that you can see here, this text box to disappear. So we have to think about our organs and we have to look in the hierarchy, actually, because these organs are object, so if I scroll a bit, I can see that there is a body part section. If I click on it, and then I can see that there is the brain, the eye, and all the other organ, and I can double check in the editor that these are the organs, that we see. So if I open them, there is an interaction, but it's not what we want, because the way it's set up is basically we have these organs, and then we have targets, I would say, inside the skeleton to place the organs, because the idea is we will drag and drop the brain, for example, on the skeleton. And so the brain will kind of appear in the right place, in the head. We are going to close the body part for now. And we have another one called body structure. We are going to open it. And here what we want is the brain interactive object target, this one. So it's important. It needs to be called brain target. So if I click on it, I can see that it's inside the skeleton head. Basically, it's just kind of invisible for now. You have to click on interaction. If it's not open, you can just click the little arrow. And then inside this interaction, there's one called hide ghost on drop. So the ghost is basically this placeholder for the brain, and hide when we drop, meaning we will hide this placeholder once we drop the brain in the right place. So anyway, you will just have to click on that one and you can check to the right that it's basically an interaction. Things are happening, but we don't need to understand this interaction in detail. You just have to select that one. And then we have to go back to our text interactive object instruction hide. Actually, so I'm going to click to select it. And we want to drop the brain target interaction, the specific one we saw here. So I'm going to scroll a bit again. We are on the brain, hide ghost on drop, and I'm going to drag and drop this one over there. So that's the first dependency. We have to do it for all the organs. So I think there's maybe 9 or 10 organs in the scene. So we are going to do the same thing for all of them. So I'm going to close the brain target, open the eye, click the hide ghost on drop. But before, you can just press plus here. Then I'm going to drop this one. I'm going to close the eye. I open the diaphragm. I make another space, hide ghost on drop. I'm going to close the diaphragm. Oops, I have to click again. Oh, and by the way, if you don't want to mistake like I just did and close the inspector of the text interactive object that we are using, at the top right of the inspector, you have a little lock. You can click on it. And so even if I click on something else, we are still on the instruction hide interaction where we want to add all these dependencies. So it can help you. You lock. Don't forget to unlock, of course, after. So now it's going to be easier if I misclick somewhere. We are still going to stay on this instruction hide. So anyway, we did the brain, the eye, and the diaphragm. So now we have to add the heart. And I think we might be good. Yeah, 10. Okay, so we are good. So we added all the body part, basically the target of the body part, and specifically the interaction where we detect that we dropped the correct body part on the kind of target for the body part, So that's what it is. And so now, once we place all the object inside the skeleton, we will finally close that text box that we are going to see once I launch the experience. So now I'm going to launch the play mode to see if we succeeded basically. So I'm going to make the view bigger with the shift space hovering the play mode view. Now I'm going to press play. Inside this video, we are using the desktop controller to move around, so we don't need to be in VR for that specific tutorial and video. So I'm just going to grab all the organs, body parts, and put them on the skeleton. So I left click with my mouse, I get closer to the skeleton, and I release my left click. See, there's a message in the middle. Each time it's a little message about the organ we released, we dropped. Then I'm going to put the brain. See, there's another message. I'm going to do that with all the other body part. As you can see, each time there's a new message. And now we are going to add the last one, and you'll see that the text will disappear after. Et voilà. Congratulations, you have a nice skeleton, and you also succeeded in making the dependency system work. I hope you enjoyed the video, and feel free to listen it again if it was a bit hard to understand, and see you in the next tutorial.